The beautiful flower field in front of her made Dr. Premzini unable to hide her surprise. How did she end up here all of a sudden? She looked around the field, hoping to find someone to share this place with. Finally, her eyes lit up with joy when she saw someone walking toward her. It was the person she missed so much that tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. The woman she loved with all her heart. Pat. Dr. Premzini could only utter that name when the woman standing before her was the one she thought about constantly, whether awake or asleep. "Did you come to see me, P. Prem?" Nafek asked. I missed you so much." As soon as Nafek came closer, Dr. Premzini didn't hesitate to reach out and hug her. But her embrace felt empty, as if she couldn't touch Nafek at all. The more she tried to hold on, the more empty it felt. There was only a smile. "I love you, P. Prem." Don't go. Wait for me." No matter how loudly she called, it was in vain. There was only a smile. Before Nafek slowly faded away, the woman who always teased her, the woman who asked her to sing lullabies, the woman who made her feel happy by saying, "I love you," was no longer there. Prem, are you awake?" Her mother's voice brought Dr. Premzini back to consciousness. She began to stir and looked around the hospital room, her gaze stopping on the elderly woman holding her hand with a blank expression. "Prem, why aren't you speaking, dear?" "Prem." It wasn't just her mother's voice, her father was calling out too. But their daughter, lying on the hospital bed, showed no sign of responding to their words. Her eyes were empty, and she pulled her hand away from her. Mother's grasp, Dr. Premzini turned her back on her parents, ignoring whatever they were saying. She wasn't ready to speak. She was lost in thoughts, unable to accept the loss she'd experienced. Tears flowed silently as her heart ached every time she thought of the woman she'd just dreamed about. That woman hadn't gone anywhere. She'd come back to her, right? Nafek Theranisorn had just gone on a break. She'd soon return to Dr. Premzini Chataficharn. The sound of the hospital room door opening didn't catch the attention of the patient lying on the bed, crying with her back turned. Only her parents, who were anxious, went to ask her 3 close doctor friends. "Prem hasn't said anything to me. She just keeps crying." "Calm down." Dr. Melanie tried to comfort her friend's mother, who was on the verge of tears as she looked at her daughter's trembling back, knowing she was crying in sorrow. "Prem is in shock from the grief. We need to give her time to adjust to the trauma, but we don't know how long it'll take for her to return to normal." Dr. Tankhun couldn't hold back and explained what his friend was going through, hoping her parents would realize the impact of their decisions on their beloved daughter. "That's enough, Tan." Dr. Falada had to restrain her friend when Dr. Tankhun started to lose control of his emotions. "Is Prem's condition that serious, Dr. Lada?" the mother asked. "It depends on whether Prem can accept the trauma. Right now, Dr. Premzini seems to be in a dreamlike state. If it's severe, she mightn't return to her normal self." Dr. Falada explained. The 3 doctors let her parents ponder their words before approaching Dr. Premzini, who had a blank stare but tears streaming down her face. The sight of their dear friend left them speechless. The love that parents, often claim to be for the right reasons, can sometimes deeply hurt their child's heart. "Where is Pat? Where did she go?" Their friend's soft question left them at a loss for words. "She'll come back, right?" How could they answer when the woman their friend was asking for would never come back? "She can't swallow pills. She finds them bitter." "Tell Pat that I'm waiting to come get me." Her voice trembled with heartbreak every time she spoke. Not only did her 3 friends hear it, but also her parents, who were watching their daughter on the bed with deep regret. They realized their actions had caused their daughter unbearable pain and loss. They'd brought Dr. Premzini into this world, but in the end, they were the ones who destroyed her happiness, leading to this tragic situation. If Dr. Premzini couldn't return to her normal self, what would they do? Would their daughter lose everything in her life? What parents thought was right turned out to be something that deeply hurt their child's heart. Her father walked over to look at his daughter, whose eyes were still empty but filled with tears. He felt a deep sense of sorrow and regret for the decision that had hurt his daughter so much. It wasn't just hurt, it was a loss that was hard to accept. "Prem, I'm sorry, dear, please come back," he pleaded, perhaps for the first time, wanting his daughter to recover from her pain and disconnection from the world around her. "Prem, come back to us, dear," her mother added. "Your mom and I will no longer force you. Please come back to being the same Dr. Premzini we know." They begged, but it seemed to have no effect. Dr. Premzini's eyes remained empty, unresponsive to their efforts to bring her back to the present. "Prem," with tears streaming down her face and a heart full of pain, Dr. Premzini slowly closed her eyes. She didn't want to hear anything because she couldn't bear the loss. "Prem, you have to come back to being yourself, dear." Her parents wished for her to return to her old self as soon as possible. But the overwhelming pain made it incredibly difficult, and the words she spoke reflected the deep melancholy in the room. "How can I be the same when my heart is gone?" Dr. Premzini's heart-wrenching sobs made her mother unable to hold back. She hugged her daughter tightly, repeatedly apologizing for causing her so much pain. Her father turned away, hiding his own tears, if he could turn. Back time, he wouldn't have forced his daughter to separate from her lover. But he couldn't change the past. All he could do was watch and support his daughter, promising to be a more reasonable father, no longer imposing his own will. Her parents were crying in sorrow, just like Dr. Premzini, who had become overwhelmed by the loss, who had become patient herself. Right now, it was impossible for Dr. Premzini to return to her old self. Her heart was too broken to stay in this world, but she wouldn't act on the thoughts that crossed her mind. She just needed me for her heart to gradually get used to the pain. It might take time for her to return to being Dr. Premzini Chadaficharn, the doctor who was ready to care for patients. But right now, she couldn't fulfill that role. She wasn't ready to care for anyone, not even the woman who was her heart. She needed time to get used to this pain, though she didn't know how long it would take. All she knew was that her heart needed a break from this painful story, waiting for the day it would be strong again. Time passed slowly, as no one was ready to accept the loss. Some might come to terms with it quickly, but for others, even a moment to hold on to their loved one would be enough to say goodbye or share a final kiss to show how much they loved them. Dr. Premzini, dressed in a neat black dress, looked at the scene before her. With sorrowful eyes, just like Dr. Falada and Dr. Melanie, who were getting out of the car together. Today was the last day they'd send their beloved woman to heaven. Dr. Premzini gave a small smile to reassure her. Two close friends that she was fine. Despite the emotional turmoil she'd faced, she'd managed to return to her duties, no matter how exhausting it was. "Let's go inside. The ceremony is about to start." "Are you sure you're okay?" Dr. Melanie couldn't help but ask her friend, who seemed to have lost weight since the emotional turmoil began. She knew how much Dr. Premzini had to endure and struggle to get through it. "How could I not be able to handle it? Today is the last day." She spoke, her voice trailing off as sorrow overwhelmed her. The person who would never wake up to smile and laugh again was someone she loved dearly. The sound of crying and the tears streaming down the faces of clothes. Relatives and friends filled the atmosphere with sadness. Today was the final day. Everyone would come together to send their loved one to a better place. Dr. Premzini placed a bouquet of sandalwood flowers, a symbol of farewell, before stepping down from the crematorium to allow others to pay their last respects. As the ceremony concluded, people began to leave. Except for close family and friends who stood watching the black smoke rise into the sky. They were all filled with grief, still thinking of and loving the one who had passed. "Thank you so much, all of you. Your grandmother was like a family to us too, Tan." Dr. Melanie said, hugging her friend. They were all mourning the loss of Dr. Tankhan's grandmother. "She was old, Tan. She's at peace now. But I still miss her. If you had kept her, she would have suffered. It's better to let her go peacefully." The three beautiful doctors smiled at Dr. Tankhan, whose eyes were red and ready to cry again. He still couldn't come to terms with the loss Dr. Tankhun had managed to keep his grandmother alive for 2 weeks, but in the end, the family decided they didn't want to see her suffer anymore. They chose to remove the aspirator and let her pass away peacefully. "Thank you. Are you heading back?" "We're taking Prem to the hospital first." "I forgot. Prem has to go to the hospital," Dr. Tankhun said, holding Dr. Premzini's hand and smiling at her. She'd lost weight, affected by the emotional strain and the need to care for someone waiting for her. "Take care, Tan. Drive safely. Prem, you need to stay strong." "I will. If I'm not strong, others will suffer. I have to be their pillar." Despite her exhaustion, Dr. Premzini was ready to dedicate her body and soul to someone she was waiting to reunite with. Dr. Premzini smiled at the nurse who greeted her as she walked onto the patient recovery floor. Everyone there knew why Dr. Premzini came after work hours and went into a particular patient room, only to emerge the next morning ready for her duties. Standing in front of the recovery room, Dr. Premzini took a deep breath to gather her confidence, ensuring she showed nothing but a smile to the person inside. The sound of the TV made her smile as she approached the patient's bed. It seemed the TV was keeping the patient company. She gently stroked her beloved's pale face before kissing her forehead with all her love. She couldn't imagine how she'd live without this person. Because she loved Nafek Theranorn so much. "P. Prem, did I wake you?" Dr. Premzini asked sweetly, kissing the soft cheek of the person who had just woken up. She pressed her forehead against hers, allowing the patient to kiss her lips easily. "I'm bored of thing down. Hang in there. You'll be home in a few days." "P. Prem, will I ever be the same again?" The uncertainty in her voice made the doctor, both her lover and physician, kiss her lips again. Despite Dr. Premzini's efforts to encourage her and assure her of the medical team's competence, every time she looked at her unresponsive lower body, it was disheartening. It wasn't just her legs in casts. Her heart was also uncertain when it might stop again, even though she had a pacemaker implanted. The accident happened because her heart couldn't handle the pressure, possibly due to lack of rest, affecting blood flow to her heart. She had frequent arrhythmias leading to her heart slowing down until she couldn't bear the pain. But she survived, miraculously, even after her heart had stopped. She didn't know what happened during the nearly 2 weeks she was unconscious, but waking up to Dr. Premzini's loving words, and her family's joy made her smile. "Don't you trust my treat?" "I'm scared." She didn't want to lie to herself or pretend to be strong to ease others' worries. Her condition was severe, and some nights the pain was unbearable. Dr. Premzini gently wiped her tears, understanding Nafek's feelings. No one wouldn't be scared after facing life and death. "Do you trust the doctor who loves you?" "I do, but..." "If you trust me, no buts. Dr. Premzini won't let her beloved suffer." Her loving smile brought tears to Nafek's eyes. She loved this woman so much. She knew how much Dr. Premzini had endured, waiting for her to wake up. Her parents told her that Dr. Premzini had begged to be allowed to stay by her side every night. From evening until the next morning, Dr. Premzini would be there, taking over from her family during the day. "I love you, P. Prem." "I love you too, Pat. Let's clean up and have dinner." "Okay." Nafek watched her lover's slender back as she went to prepare the cleaning supplies. A nurse had told her that Dr. Premzini insisted on doing this herself since she was unconscious. Was she a dedicated doctor or just possessive, not wanting anyone else to see her lover's bare skin? Nafek's eyes welled up again as she looked at her legs in casts and the faint scar on her chest, reminders of what she'd been through. She had to be patient and trust her beloved doctor's care, even if she didn't know when she'd return to a normal life. As the bright sunlight faded into the evening, Dr. Premzini drove into the Theranorn mansion. For the past 2 months, she'd been staying there. Usually, she'd see someone in a motorized wheelchair coming to greet her. But today, only a maid was there to take her briefcase. Where's Pat? She's in the flower garden, doctor. Thank you. Dr. Premzini hurried to find her lover, eager to see her smile and hear her. Gentle questions about her day. Nafak's words always made her happy, despite the worries she'd discussed with her mentor about Nafak's lower body strength. The casts were off, but her progress was slow, requiring physical therapy to regain muscle strength gradually. Why didn't you wait for me today? I missed you so much. Dr. Premzini said, crouching in front of her lover in the wheelchair, who looked back with a blank expression. Prem. Yes. Nafak looked into the loving eyes of the beautiful doctor before her, tears welling up as she thought about not wanting Dr. Premzini to be burdened with a disabled person. She tried to be strong, but she still couldn't walk. Prem, stop loving me. I'm such a burden. So what? I don't want you to be with a disabled person. You have a future, and there are others who can make you happy. And Nafak Theranosorn can't make me happy. Prem, you made me fall in love, and now you want to leave me. I won't let you. Her words, along with her firm grip, made Nafak break down in tears. The gentle kiss that followed reassured her of the love they shared. How could she have been so foolish to say such things to Dr. Premzini? I'm sorry. It's good enough that I didn't slap you. Think before you say, she said, a bit annoyed, but a smile crept onto her face as her soft cheek was kissed tenderly. You're a heavy weight, Prem. A single slap can knock me out. Even with tears in her eyes, she managed to smile. Their faces were close, and we shared a long kiss, letting their hearts feel just how much we loved each other. Don't say like that again, okay? Don't you know how much my heart suffers without you by my side, Nafak? I'm sorry. Hang in there, my dear. Just a little more patience and you'll be back to your old self. I love you, Prem. I love you too, my dear. How could I not love you? You're the most annoying troublemaker and villainous. It's too late to back out now. The doctor has fallen for this wicked woman. I willingly fell, because the doctor loves this wicked woman with all her heart. And this villain loves the doctor with all her heart too. The words of love from our hearts and the smiles from our happiness showed just how much Nafak Theranosorn and Dr. Premzini Chodaficharn loved each other. Our story might have started with unpleasantness and mischief, but we went through so much together, even the most emotionally challenging moments. Today, our hearts belong to each other, and we've shared the sweetest words of love.